My
Didn't do my hair. Yeah.
there we go.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Ah,
What's up, Carla? How are you?
yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing well. I had to stoke the wood stove this morning, but getting a little cozier.
I love that. My neighbor does that too. We're in Baltimore and he does that. I mean, it makes sense for you in Canada, I guess, because seems like cold up there, but my neighbor lives in Baltimore and he does the same thing.
So how far is the next, another 9 hours north of you is the next province?
Well, pretty much. You can't really drive straight up because of the mountains, but yeah, above us would be the Yukon.
Wow. Oh, wow. So like Yellowknife and all that.
So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a whole lot of nothing.
No, so you're saying it's kind of cold there.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's getting cold.
Okay.
It's getting cold. Yeah. So Carla Wainwright, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Appreciate you spending some time with us today. I only have one sort of northern story, and it's literally a TV show story, so I don't even have direct experience, but we're watching that show Northern Exposure right now because it was on TV at like midnight, and what else are you going to watch like when you're just trying to go to sleep? And right now in their show, it's getting to be winter as well, so it's getting cold, and it's getting cold here, got to like 40 last night, we're getting chilly here. And I'm like feeling it I like watching the show going, oh my God, that's a different kind of cold. Like that's like a really mountain cold, right? Which I'm fine with if I'm skiing, but I'm usually head to toe, like ski gear, right? Are you from there? Are you from the up north or?
I'm originally from Montreal, so I was born and raised there and moved to British Columbia in the late 90s.
Oh, cool.
Awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. It sounds beautiful up there, though.
It is. It is beautiful. There's so much space and, just nature and great community. It's a good place to live.
Awesome. Cool. Well, how did you get into what you're doing right now? I want to like peel back a couple things, but I just want to kind of hear how you got here.
Yeah. Well, actually, the reason I came to the city I live in, Prince George, is that a long time ago, I planned to do a PhD I was working as a biologist, a wildlife biologist, and was going to continue that work. And so I had been living in England. I did my master's degree there and then came back to British Columbia because I'd done tree planting and all of the things that lots of Canadians do through their summers. And I moved here with that intention, but, didn't quite work out that way. The funding fell through. I still worked as a wildlife biologist, but my path started to take me in a different direction. I had experienced some sexual trauma in my 20s, and which was starting to make working really difficult. And so I went on this healing journey, and I kind of had a couple of experiences here in Prince George that kind of blew my mind open. I went to my first yoga class and was able to connect in my body in a way that had never been accessible to me in my life. And I knew something magical had happened. And I also had an experience with a homeopathic remedy that also blew my mind completely open and started a healing journey that the mainstream medical model just wasn't able to provide me. And so I kind of went these dual paths for many, many years and then gave up the biology, opened a yoga studio.
I've heard this story before.
It's not always a yoga studio, but there seems to be a very right brain, left brain convergence, or vice versa, I should say.
Yeah,
and by homeopathic remedy, is it mugwort or is it like mushrooms that you found hanging out in your bed?
No, homeopathic. Homeopathic don't even have a molar amount in some of the strongest. Oh yeah, we can talk about homeopathics.
Yeah, Tom's got his doctorate in Chinese medicine, by the way.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, the more potent the remedy, the less actual physical material there is.
Less than an atom. Less than an atom in some ways.
Oh wow.
So
I know
so I became a homeopath too and had a yoga studio. And anyway, fast forward to this point in my life where I've brought back some of my science background back into my work because I really saw the value and in my own lived experience and in my clients' experience of really bringing these two pieces together, kind of the more esoteric and then the more scientific.
I feel like there's a move for this, Carla, and I think I'm going to say you're probably a couple years younger than me and Matt, or we're pretty close in age, but it seems to be this Gen X kind of movement where it's like, no, we got the degrees that we were supposed to get, and then we're like, you know what, that hippie shit.
Yeah.
That's not that bad either.
Yeah.
And we're like, we're going to take a little from column A and column B. Yeah, we'll rage against the machine, but we will also listen to freaking jam bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can crow pose like nobody's business. So, there's that too.
I did have a scuff on my forehead once from a crow pose gone awry.
Yeah.
It's all forehead now, though. So.
Yeah, it's all forehead. Yeah. But I do find that it's funny. I think Tom hit the nail on the head, right? Like, we don't get into things by accident, right? So if you had a proclivity for biology, like, there's a reason for that. And I'm not saying it's some mystical reason. I'm saying there's a fucking reason you like it. You know what I mean? Like, your body was drawn to it at one point. You might have given it up for a little while or changed direction, but like, you coming back to it is not at all surprising. And actually, in a lot of ways, I think that's cool, because then you get to connect what was probably in your mind two separated pieces of your life, both timeline wise and cognitively, and now you could kind of mush them together. That's got to be kind of
it's actually, I love how you said that. It's exactly that, and it feels like less of a separation and more of like two pieces coming together as a whole.
And I don't have that exact experience, but I have many things like that in my life where you kind of look at them with hindsight and you're like, I would never have thought these belong together, but now that they're here, that makes sense. So how did that play out for you? Like, what does the science bring to the woo woo? Like, what did you notice there? Listen, don't take any of this the wrong way. By the way, we are as woo as it gets over here. So we're
yeah, I mean, like this week alone, I mean, we were in the Akashic Records last night, and then
we did an Akashic meditation last night. Like, so if that,
awesome,
beat that, I guess.
We also have an electrical engineer that is now a psychic.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. No, we've gone all over the place.
We're going deep now.
So I just want to make sure you don't take any of this the wrong way. We're laughing with you.
We're all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. I figured as much. So where I'm at now is I work with women who are 40 plus, using what I call the sacred metabolism. And the sacred metabolism is this fusion between what's happening in the body from a biochemical standpoint. So, we take in food, it converts it to energy, or we're running on ketones, whatever is happening, metabolically from the physical perspective. But equally important is our energetic metabolism and really tending to our energy body. And so a lot of that is around the nervous system, but it's also around connecting with cycles, and sexual energy is a really big part of what I do, like the power of sexual energy. And I really feel like, I think that men and women both need this, but I think particularly women, as they move through the really challenging time of perimenopause and then into menopause, where a lot of women really, really struggle and lose themselves. Bringing both of those pieces together are really important. And I would say that, like, in my own life, I was really connected with the energy system. And even though I've always taken excellent care of my health, I actually realized metabolically, from a biophysical standpoint, there was a lot of work that I could do to improve that. And I found when I actually brought that in and really tended to both parts of myself, that's where I really started to come into, the vibrancy, the health that I really wanted to be in.
It's funny. We just had an episode, our very last episode that we did. We were talking about physical therapy, and I said, as I get older, physical therapy has become less of an acute response and more of a prophylactic practice. And I think I can say the same thing about energetics as well, right? It's like, I don't need to do this necessarily, but doing it makes things a lot more lubricated, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like a lot less friction when I'm moving through the world, if I'm just keeping an eye on that, But it's interesting that you use those words, because it's like, it instantly resonates with me. We just had this conversation and I'm like, oh, wow. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, right? I think a lot of people seek healing like we were taught to seek healing when you get sick, when you break a bone, when you know, I'm sick, therefore I seek cure. Like, or conversely, you could just maybe try to avoid it at all. So the metabolism part, like, how do you start even peeling this onion? It's a fascinating vantage point.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think there's the knowing that less than 8% of people are metabolically healthy, which is staggering. And so
not just people from the States.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Yeah.
We'll shit on the States all day.
Yeah. Might be slightly.
I imagine it's pretty similar.
And for the Canadian listeners, I know that there's a difference. I will not call myself an American because it's all fucking side of the globe. Anyway, go ahead, Carla. I did not mean to disrail you there.
No, but it's a good point. I mean, I think, that is an American statistic, but I would say that in the Western world, probably not far off from that, maybe from, a couple percentages, but not really significantly different. So, with knowing that, we really have to understand that there's a baseline that people aren't even at metabolically. And so, how do we start to bring more balance into the body and more metabolic health? So, there's a number of different things that I do with the people that I work with. A lot of it is just knowledge base and understanding. Like, people may think that they're healthy, but it's like when you start to peel back the layers, it's like, well, actually, how is your sleep? What is your energy level like through the day? What are you actually eating? What is the toxic load in your body? All of these various things. And so, the biggest thing is actually, yes, knowledge is absolutely important, but it's about creating small incremental steps to create some momentum. Because I think that we live in a world now that is so incredibly stressful. I don't know about you guys, but I just feel like every year the needle on the stress dial just keeps going up, like just in terms of what's coming at us all the time, the speed of things, the, information overload. People are so glued to their phones. They're not able to self-regulate it's just sort of compounding all the time. And so you really have to meet people at a place where you can make very small incremental changes. And so, that's the one side. That's like the lifestyle piece. And there's many different components to that. I'm happy to talk more about that. But concurrently to that, it's also starting to tend to the energetic piece. And for so many women, they are just experience numbness. They're so dysregulated in their bodies, trauma. Many, many women have experienced trauma, and trauma compounds metabolic effects like insulin resistance and more cortisol, and puts you kind of in this loop, this sort of unhealthy metabolic loop. And so concurrently to that, it's starting to bring in just practices to allow her to just actually be able to feel like, what is happening in my inner landscape? Because I don't know if I've actually ever even checked. I have no idea. And so really those very small momentum pieces to start to awaken the various facets of the body, for the complete human.
Yeah. And I got a question for you. I mean, I know we see this a lot in like the weight loss area, right? It's real easy to get people to lose that first 10 pounds because they're usually like really unhealthy, and like basically doing anything is going to get them to that part, right? Like anything at all. As you go down that road, it gets a little harder, right? Like as you start, honing that and you're starting to dig more and more and more. Is it similar in what you're talking about? Like, I mean, do you have like these sort of early wins that are kind of easy to kind of get people like to wake up a little bit and see what's happening, and then, you have to kind of work the problem harder from there?
Well, yes and no. Certainly, if somebody is quite unhealthy, then you're absolutely right. Just doing small things can just move the needle incredibly. But, at the same time, I think that my approach is never really to push more. I think that we need to push less, but we need to perhaps be pushing in a certain direction or creating momentum in a certain direction. Because I think that, women, especially at this phase in their life, they're exhausted, and pushing raises cortisol, makes everything so much harder to actually do. So there's sets of principles like cyclical living. Fasting is a big piece of that, turning on your metabolic switch so that you can move from sugar burning to fat burning, having ketones in the body. But you have to do it very slowly, right? I'm not going to have a new person be like, hey, we're going to jump into our first 36-hour fast next week. Like, no.
Right.
It has to be,
right.
And what I really try to do, I want to create for somebody like a master's degree in their health and wellness and life experience.
That's an interesting
way
to
to
put it.
When I work with someone, I want them to be able to do everything that I teach them themselves when we're done, and that they have that foundation and knowledge and like the desire, like the real desire to make this the way that they live. It doesn't mean that you're not going to enjoy life in some of the ways that you might have done. I mean, we all want to do that. Life is meant to be enjoyed, but it's really reframing everything and empowering people, like, to feel like they have the power to lead their life in the most helpful way possible because they have the capacity and the knowledge and the ability to do that.
So, Carla, you said a bunch of stuff there that I really love. First of all, I think you're in this women's health movement, and I think there is a movement happening, right? Our friend Lynn Dudley's been on the show, and she works with Lyra, and that's specifying in women's health itself. But this idea that women and men do have some different biology, right? And we have to respect that. And yes, men go through andropause too, but the complexities of life changes for women specifically have never really been studied, and we've been kind of throwing, here's what the male statistics say for a lot of these things. So now we're starting to see more nuance, more information coming out female specific, and especially this perimenopausal time, so much seems to be up in the air, and my wife's going through it too. I don't think she'd be upset saying I outed her. I mean, this is kind of the age we're at, and with all of that, the level of nuance and understanding, and you said, not necessarily pushing more, right? Sometimes it's stepping back and saying, what can we take off the plate? Sometimes it's let's let everything settle. And that I often talk about in the clinic, the symphony of hormones, right? Yeah, of course the cortisol's high. That's a corticosteroid, but it doesn't look too different than your sex hormones. It's close enough that if that's out of tune, the rest of the symphony sounds like shit. So being able to come back and balance all that out, I think is something. And then really, Matt and I talk about N=1 all the time here. Yeah. Being able to give people, here's your user manual for where you're at right now is really a gift, and we don't teach like that. We don't talk like that. We don't treat medicine like that in general. So it's really, from what I'm hearing, that's really an amazing thing that you're putting together, and being able to offer somebody with that both left and right brain approach. That was more of a compliment than a comment. I don't.
Thank you.
And I'm going to add to that and say that our Akashic experience, she actually brought in saying, like, there's this like cosmic reawakening, cycling into this feminine energy that we're cycling out of a masculine, darker sort of space. And while I know that has nothing to do with gender, what it does have to do with, I think, in my view anyway, is this sort of masculine energy in me anyway, is like the dumb brute force, like, let's get shit done energy, wherein the feminine energy is more, let's examine what's happening. Like, let's nuance this thing down. And I think you see, if you take our Akashic friend at face value, like, then you realize that a lot of people are asking better questions now. Like, to Tom's point, like, every medical thing was through the male lens. Now it's not. And it's not just that it's through the female lens, it's that it's through more than just that lens, right? Like, and that moving into a broader frame of reference, I think, is what's happening all around us. And it's fun to see how people are exploring that evolution, yourself included.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree that some really positive shifts are happening. There's a lot more to do. Absolutely.
Sure.
But
there's always more to do.
I love that I'm having conversation with two men about like feminine energy.
We
And
were told we're very sensitive and we're emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
And I have Kuan Yin tattooed across my back, so you don't get that if you're hyper male.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have no tattoos, so I can't claim that, but I do have a podcast.
Not even one? How long have you been in Baltimore, man? I feel like that's like entry fee.
No, 0. Yeah. 0 tattoos. But I do have a health podcast, so I guess, does that count? Like,
maybe. I don't know.
But I love it, man. I think it's awesome. I went to art school in the 90s, Carla, and like, you know, I'm not going to, we were kind of out of the really bad parts of our evolution, I think, by then, but still I came home and like, you know, the earrings and the longer hair and the like talking about my art school experience. And so my friends were kind of like, dude, what the fuck? Are you like some gay guy now? And I'm like, okay, so, you know, there's that conversation, I guess, if that's what you want to have. But like, it was like anything that tipped your hat towards any exploration of any kind, you're just a fucking gay guy. That was it. Like, it was like the automatic, like, this is the return. You know what I mean? You're like, okay, I can't with you. You know, and it's awesome that we don't have to do that anymore. Mm-hmm. But what's even funnier is those same people are like, dude, have you hit up Bikram today? Because that shit was amazing. And I'm like, like, because now you're 50 and everything hurts. So fuck off. You're doing the same shit I was doing 20 years ago now. Thank you. Like, you know, anyway, I digress. What do we were?
I hope everything doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't hurt on me at all. But like I said, I do all this crazy shit.
Mentally, it does.
I don't know.
Mentally, yeah.
Yeah. So, anywho, so how do you do this remotely? I gotta ask. You're not like, are you in some hidden metropolis that I don't know about, or like, are you doing this all remote? Because it sounds like you're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Well, I know, because you know, I understand why it's like that. No, the city I live in is about 80,000 people, so it's not that small.
Okay.
And it's actually the biggest city in northern British Columbia.
Okay.
So yeah, there's an amazing community here. So I do work in person, but I do a lot of work remotely as well.
What I heard, Carla, was you guys don't know geography.
No.
Well,
no.
Listen. So when I was a kid, we went and we would holiday in New Jersey because my great aunt and uncle had a summer house in Margate near Atlantic City.
Oh shit! Yeah. My uncle actually had a house in Margate, like a block off the beach.
Yeah. They were friends with Carla's relatives.
They probably were. Probably. It's a small private beach.
Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, the kids would always ask us that, like the neighborhood kids always asked. I mean, I grew up in Montreal, like if we lived in igloos. So, you know, I'm not that.
I mean, we're not quite that dumb.
We're not a bright society.
We're not quite that stupid. But we're
when you said 9 hours north of Vancouver, I was like, it goes that far? They make the states much bigger on our maps.
Oh man,
it's a big place.
It's a big place.
It is a big place. I only made it, I think, a half an hour north of Vancouver.
Okay.
So,
well, you know, it's worth exploring. BC is incredible.
It was gorgeous where I saw.
Is that where Whistler's at? Is that?
Yeah, Whistler is north of Vancouver.
That's on the list of my son's last spring break. Ironically, like living at our house full time. Ironically, we want to go skiing, and Whistler is like at the top of the list. So
nice.
We might be hitting up British Columbia in the near future.
Yeah, Vancouver's real nice. They got a great Chinatown. They got Gassy Jack, a whole bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I have no idea what any of those things are, but okay.
I haven't been there in 21 years, so it could all be different.
Yeah. Wow. So, okay, cool. So like, look back. So geography's not an issue. Like what, I only ask that because like, I feel like a lot of this stuff I want to do in person. You know what I mean? Like, I tried yoga over COVID and it sucked. Mm-hmm. Like it was terrible. Like Zoom yoga is awful. Like I wanted to love
Yeah.
it. I gave it like 6 months. I tried. I kept paying for it. And I'm like, okay, if I keep paying for it, I'll do it. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm going to stop.
Yeah, you have a really good point. So there's certain types of practices or teachings that are just so much more alive if we're doing them, in person. And so definitely a lot of the embodiment practices that I teach. So, I mean, I do have classes here, but I lead retreats in nice places like Mexico or Europe and things like that. So, those are ways to do things in person. But no, you are right. I mean, it is in many ways like this incredible opportunity, blessing that we have, that we can, here we are having this conversation. We couldn't do that in the 90s, and the amount of information that's going out there. And then, for people who do live in remote places, they still can have access to practices and things that they can do themselves. But, I guess I would say that I agree with you. Some things, like some practices, are better done in person, but I also think that you can, with the right practitioner, with the right environment, you can really create a space where you can get just as much out of it.
If they can do Zoom acupuncture, Tom's closing his clinic tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to get to the point where I'm just going to throw needles out of the car at people.
Just
keep driving.
But it's funny, we're laughing about it, but and I know you can't obviously do acupuncture remotely, but that's one of those things, and we've talked about this before in the show. I had a little issue. I go into Tom and I'm like, this is what my problem is. He puts his hands literally on me. He's like, that's not your problem at all. It's actually this other thing. And that kind of thing could very easily go undiagnosed or unnoticed if you're not literally putting your physical hands on people, or in a more spiritual realm, like a singing bowl getting hit after a good yoga practice. You can't feel that through a set of iPod headphones. It's not the same.
No, I agree.
I actually had my first set of singing bowls that I got because of COVID, because I wanted to actually see if I could at least give it a little ding at the end and kind of bring some of that back. And I was like, all right, well, this is better than nothing, but it's still a little bit. Then my kids just now use it to see who can get it to sing faster. So it's definitely what they had in mind when they invented those things, I'm sure. So what these retreats, talk to me about that. I mean, I know everybody and their brother's doing retreats these days, and they're I think for good reason. What do you got going on there? Those sound kind of fun.
So I've been doing retreats. I did my first retreat. I have twin girls who are 18 now, and I did my first retreat when they were 10 months old.
Oh, wow.
And it's actually funny. I have this picture of me holding them and looking so exhausted. And I have this look in my eye. What was I thinking? They were sleeping in suitcases because we didn't have, play pens for them or whatever. Anyway, it was crazy, but it was great at the same time. So that was the sort of start of my retreat journey. But so since then, I've been leading retreats, except for COVID, the period over COVID, pretty much yearly. And they started off being yoga retreats because I was a yoga teacher, and then they really morphed. I would say starting in about 2015, doing retreats with women around sexual awakening, the divine feminine, coming together in women's circles, doing powerful energy practices, nature-based practices, inquiry practices. And I'm going to be leading a retreat actually in a few weeks in Mexico and on the Oaxacan coast. It's a retreat for women 40 plus. And this will be my first retreat where I'm actually bringing in more of the lens of the sacred metabolism. So doing a lot of the work around the sacred, the feminine, the divine feminine, but also really bringing in some of those principles around our physical metabolic health, so that, I want the immersive experience to really support women, towards that master's degree in their health, that they're going to have this lived experience in this container so that they can go forward in their lives and then start to apply those things in their lives, once they're back home, which is harder to do. Of course, the retreat it's like a an incredible nurturing container, but it's an artificial experience in the sense that that's not reflective of what our lives look like day to day. But my hope always is to empower women and give them enough tools and support and encouragement that they can then step into more of that way of being, post retreat, not just within, the confines of a week.
I know a lot of the psychedelic retreats have the same observation. They're like, it's real easy to do hard work here because you're in a rainforest on a whole bunch of ayahuasca or whatever you're on, and that this is fine. You're eating organic and oming with the sunrise and everything's great, but you got to get on a plane at some point and get the hell out of here, right? And then what, right? And I think that's the part where a lot of these things sort of don't have a great answer for. So it's I like the frame of reference that you put there, because I think we're finding out more and more that the experience is really like a very small piece of a bigger puzzle, right? That you need to pay attention to, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the experience can be really profound. I mean, many people, they can go away for, they can say, I had this experience in this week that just really shifted everything for me. And I know that it's not necessarily accessible for everyone, but I do highly recommend the opportunity to really disconnect from your everyday life and just give yourself the space to dive into, some self-inquiry, to really take care of your body, to nurture yourself, to meet new people, be in new environments, try new things. Like, there's so many benefits to doing that happen, of course, in the week, but then, the ripple effect is really profound. I really do highly recommend it.
I love it. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But just to have those experiences, because I think that we need those. We need to be able to exit from our everyday lives that are so full and at capacity, so that we can actually come back to more of a baseline of like nourishment and nervous system reset.
Sure.
I think that's super, super important.
And don't worry, we'll plug you at the end. So we know.
Yeah, we're going to ask you where we can find you.
No, but you know what? I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and they were like, they quoted something. They said, your comfort zone is your cage. And I never, ever thought of it like that, because so much of my life, I'm just going to tell you, I go through Herculean effort to create comfort in my life, mostly because I'm a little bit of a wimp, but secondarily, I move very quickly through the world, and I don't want there to be friction, and so that I can do many things in a day. And people are like, how do you get it all done? I'm like, well, I have everything lined up where I need it. This is where I need it, so that my hand can grab it as I'm running to the next thing. And and I'm not saying this is a great way to necessarily live, but I organize my life predominantly in ways that reduce or eliminate friction, so that I can just move through. But I never envisioned that comfort that I create is in fact also my bounding box, right? Like it is now the definition of my perimeter, right? Rather than being something that enables me, it actually could be holding me back.
I think it's both.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's both. And I think that there's a recognition that, in many ways, your strategies, your rituals, all the things that you have in place are actually keeping you productive, regulated, able to move through your busy life. And they're like touch points that actually really keep you connected and grounded in your nervous system. But to have experiences beyond that, like to introduce really like that hormetic stress, which is a little uncomfortable, but actually creating more capacity, resilience, is also equally important. So I love that. What did you say? Your comfort is our cage?
Yeah, your comfort is your cage. Yeah. Your comfort zone is your cage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I constantly try to do stuff with my kids like that are like that for kind of unenunciated reasons, where I'm like, all right, let's go do this experience. Well, why? I don't want to do that. Let's just sit here. I'm like, well, yeah, we could, but you could also
go do something.
Yeah, go do this weird thing. And like all the time they come back and, there's some kind of like growth that happened, whether they liked the experience or they didn't like the experience. There's always something that they're like, well, yeah, that was cool. I agree, but that is cool. But like everybody on their phone like this all day long, I think it's getting way too easy to create this digital comfort zone and digital bounding box that you're just stuck in, because I don't know, it's just too easy, man. I don't participate hardly at all, but I see how people do.
Oh, it's crazy. And I mean, you know, we have an epidemic of disconnection.
Yeah.
People think they're connected, but they feel more disconnected than they ever have. So yeah, lots of.
My kids do this Snapchat streak. Do your kids do that? Are your kids Snapchatters?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do they do the look sideways and take a picture of nothing and then send it out? Yeah, I don't know. And I noticed them doing this like a few years ago, and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they're like, "Oh, we just take a picture and send it as a streak." And I was like, "Who is that person that you just sent this to?" They're like, "I don't know." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't know?" Like, I look at it, it's like 110-day streak. I'm like, "You've sent 110 consecutive pictures to someone you don't know?" Like, well, it's not of me. It's like my ear or whatever. I'm like, why are you doing this? I don't understand at all. And it's like this gamification of connection. So in their minds, like, I think you're right. They're thinking that they're connected to all these people. Look how many streaks I got, 100 with this and, you know, whatever. I'm like, but you don't know this person. You don't know who they are. You don't know anything about them. Like, you're not connected to this person. This is just a game. You're playing a video game. That's it. Nothing more. I know that makes me sound super old, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it.
Yeah, no, same. My son, though, did something really interesting. I mean, he's a bit older now. He's moved away in university, but he did those streaks. But he would stay up late at night and create these incredible, like, little stories in a picture. Maybe he would take his picture doing different things and then superimpose them on each other. And so he would spend, like, I don't know, half hour composing like some kind of story in one image. And he did that for streaks every night. And he did it for like a year.
Wow.
Which is very cool. Yeah, I know.
I feel like there's a coffee table book in him somewhere, right? You know, like a little.
Possibly. I don't even know if they're all saved. Yeah. And of course, I didn't even know about them because he didn't send them to me. I'm not on Snapchat.
Yeah.
But I kind of partway through figured out he was doing this. And I was like, that is so cool.
It is.
So
cool.
Yeah, the picture of like the corner of the wall, I don't get that, but maybe I'm too old.
But I think it's funny though, the lengths that people are now going to keep up these things that don't actually have any tendrils in real relationships.
Yeah.
And I think that the phrase I always use with my kids, I said, listen, it's not that you're using your phone that I care about. It's that every time you do, you're doing a rep at a gym of disconnection. Like, you're disconnecting and you're enforcing this every time you do this. Just like if I'm doing a bicep curl, right? It's no different. Every time I do it, my bicep gets a little bit stronger. And before you know it, this is better than going out and doing something with other people, right? I don't know, that's the part where I'm like, there's got to be a way to teach that to people, but like, I think adults are worse than kids, to be honest with you. Last night, somebody just hit my son and rear-ended him, didn't even blink, full speed, hit him. He was waiting to turn left at an intersection. She just barreled right into him. And everyone's like, oh my God, how did that happen? I'm like, do you have to fucking ask? You know exactly how it happened.
full speed in. No one was paying attention to anything. No one had their head up.
Yeah, you don't have to ask this question, people. You all know the answer. This lady was on her phone, full stop. Something was, you know. And you know what the unfortunate thing is? We all normalize this, right? Like, and you know how we normalize it by the police probably saying, were you on your phone? No. Okay. Maybe they asked to see the phone. Maybe they didn't even care. Oh, it's, you know. But even so, she's going to eventually have a conversation with somebody where she's like, I don't know, I was on my phone. And they're going to be like, oh, it's fine. You know, thankfully nobody was hurt. Well, yeah. And also get the fuck off your phone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't vilify the part we should be vilifying. We just sort of brush off the part that didn't, well, I guess you didn't kill him, so that's better. Okay, great. We can agree that is better. However, I still want to strangle you for being distracted enough to almost kill my son. Like, that is less fun for me, right? And I know my kids yell at me all the time, like, why are you always so passionate about this? And I'm like, because it means something in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, this is tangible, people. I'm not crazy.
Oh, it's very Huxleyan. It's very Huxleyan where like I can have all this comfort by staring at this screen. And it's just easy. It's all right there. I don't even have to think. And people are I guess alleviating themselves of those responsibilities by staring at a screen, not knowing that they're missing the real world.
And actually, this is probably a good way in to you had a thing said midlife is a portal, right? Which I do love the phrasing on this, but by way of getting into that conversation, I think right now everyone asks like, oh, what are we going to do when AI takes my job, right? This is a big conversation on everybody's mind. And I think everybody's answering that question. The rise of communities right now, I build websites, mobile apps for a living. Over 50% of the projects that I'm currently involved with right now involve community in one way, shape, or form. I didn't plan that out. I don't go looking for companies that are building communities. Irreverent Health, we're building a community. There's another one. It's not technically a client, but you know what I mean?
You put in the work.
It's not a client, I guess, right? But I'm saying like everybody who's like the smart money, let's put it this way, the smart money's on community. Why is that? Because we've lost community. And now it's starting to feel like we've lost community. Didn't used to. Now it's like feels sharply that we've lost community. I think
people are getting that person on the screen, that is a very scripted, canned presence and persona. That's not a real person, even if it is a real person, right? They're now acting, they're portraying God, I remember my daughter coming out of her bedroom and she goes, Dad, I just watched this one thing. The doctor, he just lost his patient. He was real upset. And I'm like, show me the video. And it's like, one, that doesn't even look like a fucking hospital.
Right.
Two, he set up his phone first to walk out of the room and pull his mask off dramatically.
Yeah.
Where's the fucking blood on the scrubs?
Right.
Like he's dressed for surgery. This is so canned. And I'm like, honey, it's all made up. It's all an illusion. And she goes, no, how? Come on.
And I think midlife has always been an inflection moment for people.
Yeah.
And now to use it to frame it as portal is fascinating because now it's almost, in my mind, even says like almost like a starting point, right? It's like not a midlife thing. It's more like we're beginning the journey. Am I reading too much into this?
Are we seeing it that way? Because that's where we're at.
Possibly.
I'm just asking.
You know how interesting it is? I'm curious actually from a male's perspective because women in their 40s, I've talked to a lot of women, they're like, oh no, I'm not in midlife. I'm like, really? Okay, I'm not sure where
suggests otherwise.
You think you are. But I'm wondering for men, there seems to be, I think because we have such a youth obsessed culture and women have particularly a lot of fear around aging because of that, the conditioning and the culture around that. I don't know, maybe for men, like does midlife have the same kind of charge?
There's a certain amount of it. We had a guest on that made an audiovisual entrainment device called the Neurovisor, and we just kind of vibed with him. And he's about 70. I think he just turned 76 actually. And we all hopped on a WhatsApp chat. We all kind of, send each other messages and stuff. But I remember reaching out to him, go, dude, what the fuck's going on with me? Something's wrong. And he goes, yeah, you're 50.
Yeah.
You're close to 50. And he said, this is when it happens. It's not about going out and being with your boys and, trying to, I don't apologize for the crassness, going out and getting laid and, screwing around. It's now you're thinking about what are you leaving behind? What's next? What happens when your kids leave? I got a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old. I got a few years, but like come on, man. I remember when the 15-year-old was in a, car seat, so I think men feel it, and they don't talk about it, or they just kind of shift attention. There isn't a focus on it. It's and you're absolutely right. It's 100% that youth obsessed culture too. I think men are like, nah, I can still do that. No, that's fine. And some things we can, some things I think we do better. I definitely was stronger as I got older than I ever was, but one little pull in your back and now you're not deadlifting anymore. So it's an interesting thing to look at, but I think we all experience it. How it manifests might be a little bit different for men.
Yeah.
But also you tweak your back and you don't deadlift, and then you realize, well, I don't need to deadlift. I can do all these other things.
I kind of really want to deadlift.
I know you do, but that's sort of like like, listen, there's a lot of things, but like, I'm not a big kettlebell guy, but like, I know, you know how many, like 55,
I'm wearing the fucking
60,
shirt, man.
Yeah. There's all these, who kettlebells the shit out of kettlebells? Fucking guys in their 60s. Like, they fucking love the kettlebell, right? Like, you don't need to power lift and clean.
It's a dynamic workout. You get a cardio. Right. I can drop down a bell if I'm really not feeling it.
Yeah, totally. And I think, Carla, I answer it. Everything Tom said, I think, is absolutely spot on. I think my version of it is almost a belligerent, relentless doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on purpose. Like, whatever that is. So like, I don't want to build a website because it'll make me 10 grand. I want to build a website for 5 grand that moves a fucking mountain. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want, it's not about the money anymore. I got to pay my mortgage.
Carla, it's still about the money for me, but that's because I decided to become an acupuncturist instead of just go to med school and suck it the fuck up.
Yeah. But you know what? Like, look, we have a podcast. We're talking about this on a show that Tom and I made in no small part because this is what we can do to move the needle in a world that's fucked up, right? We can have a candid conversation with bunch of people that talk about some weird shit when you look at it on the barometer of normalized Western civilization, or let's say specifically the United States, right? But we've infected the world. Like, everyone's a version of United States at this point, whether it's McDonald's or, Levi jeans or something, there's always
diabetes.
Yeah. Our major contributor to the world, diabetes. Yeah. But like,
we did mention Wilford Brimley before. We should have said it. Diabetes.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of time on the planet. And I think guys largely don't have those same issues as women, or have them differently, because guys are like, I'm getting older. I'll just biohack my way out of it. I'll just throw money at this problem. Like, guys are real, like, sort of next step equals what, right?
Right.
I'm like that too. I suffer from all of those afflictions, but I think I pepper in, my overriding force is like, every move I make needs to be intentional and it has to have meaning, or I'm just not interested. Like, period, full stop.
I also think we get it, like, this is just another area where we get it a little bit easier. Yeah, I mentioned andropause before, but it's not like, I'm not waking up in a pool of my sweat every night. I'm not going, oh shit, it's 20 degrees outside, but I need to go crack a window or I'm going to, die from this hot flash. I'm not necessarily feeling the same amount of brain fog and fatigue and the hormonal changes, everything, joint pain, right? It like masks some disease sometimes, or it mirrors some disease symptoms. And I gotta say that my clinic has always skewed more female as far as patients, but this specific age, the spectrum of symptoms that are associated with it. Guys come in because they fucked up their knee playing pickleball, which I still think is a stupid fucking game. Fight me. but you know, they're not having that. Oh my God, my husband thinks I'm going nuts. I can't remember this. You know, I wake up and I can't get going anymore. Like guys are like, yeah, you know, I take a Viagra if I want to bang my wife, right? It's like not a big deal to them. It's kind of like, oh, I can fix that symptom real quick. And women see it as a whole. And stop me because I'm not going to mansplain menopause to to somebody. But yeah, you know, the women tend to see it as this whole encompassing. It kind of touches every aspect of their life, and then this kind of getting back to that value of youth, right? Well, I can't have kids anymore.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of that being such a liberating thing, that's kind of like, wow, now I'm old. Right. And I think that hits them more. Like I went bald and I'm like, fuck, I look better bald. You know, and it was like, you know, I feel more me, but to say like, you want to see, I think the clearest thing maybe a male would feel, and they'll never admit this, they'll never talk about it, is if their dick doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, and like that would really fuck a dude up.
Yeah.
But that's right. one organ.
Yeah. It's the one
in one way, you know, and for women, it's really encompassing. And look, man, to watch everybody from, and I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rambling now, but like to watch women go through fertility treatments and watch that roller coaster of, I took the trigger shot, I'm fucking crawling out of my skin, right? And that's one shot of hormones. And then to watch women who are going through that in their 40s and 50s and hell, even their early 60s sometimes, it's the amount of empathy. That really taught me empathy there. That's a crazy thing. All right, I'm done now, man. I feel like I talked for like 9 minutes.
So many things I want to say. So yeah, but thank yous. I actually really loved hearing your perspectives. They're really helpful for me. So a couple things. I think that largely for women, midlife is seen as a decline. We talked to sort of about the whole youth obsessed culture. Women are really valued for their reproductive capacity. But the interesting thing is that women live on average about 42% of their lives postmenopausally. So that there's no accident biologically. Like biologically, this didn't happen for no reason. I think it's because we really actually step into this incredible place of wisdom. This is the portal that we go through. And once we're really on the other side of perimenopause and the symptoms begin to even out, it's different for different women. And this is why I will say that tending to our physical metabolic health is so, so important. Part of the reason perimenopause and menopause is so difficult is because we are so metabolically unhealthy. And if we can support the body physically and energetically, that whole transition becomes so much easier and allows a woman to perhaps not frame it as a decline, like I feel terrible, what's happening to me, I'm losing myself, all of these things, but to have the space and capacity to see it, of stepping into a version of herself that is more confident. We have, because of the change in neurochemicals in our brain, we're less people pleasing. We don't really give a shit what other people think, at least not as much as we used to, because there was a biological reason that we needed to be people pleasing, because that was what retained the family unit and kept us safe. And, there's all kinds of reasons for that. But the changes that happen actually allow us to step into a place of more confidence. We are incredible, of course, all elders as they age are these incredible repositories of knowledge and wisdom and have so much to offer. And so, I do see it as a portal. It's an initiation, a rite of passage that I want to be part of the conversation. And a lot of, this is happening more and more these days, of reframing midlife as not a decline, but yes, it is a portal into the most powerful time of a woman's life, where she doesn't have the burdens of, family, caregiving, children, all of these things. And she doesn't have to be in that cyclical movement of her cycle, which is incredible. I don't want to minimize it. I loved every moment of it. It's phenomenal. It's just like an amazing way to be. But being on the other side of it, there's so much more freedom to not have to be tied to those waves in the same way. So, but I just want to circle back, like, in order for that to happen, we need to support women, first of all, to change the whole mindset and the culture around what midlife and beyond midlife really means, and celebrate it rather than seeing it something to be fearful of. And we need to support women through their health so that they can actually step into that position of power. Because, the reality is that it's over 10% of women leave their jobs by the time they reach menopause because their symptoms are so overwhelming that they don't feel that they can function well in work. And up to 25% of women consider leaving their work. That is a huge, like, imagine all of the intellectual capital and just life experience. Like, there's a massive economic impact to that.
Cognitive hemorrhage, like nobody's
impact
business.
In families and communities and all of these things. So I just think there's such an incredible opportunity to support humanity as a collective if women are supported through this transition to step into this place of power, but there's a lot of work to do to get there.
And we've talked about this a lot too. If we are to just kind of take an AI journey for 2 seconds, like what if like midlife is 80 at one point, right? Like what if that's well beyond perimenopause, right? Like there's no, I don't care how long you're living.
I think you become fertile again, actually. I think.
Like you just rotate back to fertility. Yeah. But like, to your point, if we are living to hell, even if 100 becomes normal, 50 is technically midlife.
Now you're moving much past 40% of your life.
Now you're well past 40% of your life perimenopause. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like, okay, we should probably get our heads around, like have a blueprint for this, because
extending our lifespan is only good if we're extending our health span.
Correct.
So, I have zero interest in living on a bunch of medications. And, when I look at generally how people age, most people are not aging well in terms of how healthy and vital and vibrant and their capacity. Some people are, but it's not. I don't think this is what we want to be extending. We want to be extending true, vibrant health. I mean, I have a vision of myself in my 90s, and it's like I'm hiking, I'm doing all the things, and I always say to myself, like, my future self is thanking me for the choices I make today. My future self is thanking me.
Sure.
Because that vision of what I want to be when I'm older is really that's my why.
Yeah. Right. And if you don't have that, I mean, that kind of vision is almost impossible to have if someone didn't say, hey, close your eyes real quick and sit down and tell me what you think of when you think of yourself at 90. You don't just do that, right? Like it's not, and what you certainly don't do is integrate that after you've done it.
I almost feel like that's a core component to longevity that we haven't really taken into account. We talk about, blue zones and whether or not they're real or not, but the sense of purpose and everything is a big part of that. But like, what do I want to be when I grow up? Right? Like there's still a lot of growing up. And Carla, you kind of like touched on the triple goddess there. I was like, wow, I was like, are we going pagan? Are we going full pagan? I'm in. Yeah, I was like, I'm in. Let's talk about Hecate. But like, but I love that. And I love the fact that now at this age and I can have that conversation with both men and women that like, look, there's this whole purpose for us to be alive, and you stepping into those roles that you talked about. I mean, that's such a powerful place. And God, I almost feel like maybe I'm menopausal because I've more than 25% of the time I want to stop working. But within that, I do think that you're touching on something key for a longer, healthier society, which is this return to taking care of people, or valuing wisdom is what I'm going to call it. Right.
Yeah. I hope that's the direction that we're moving in.
It almost seems
I think we should be celebrating
right?
all the different phases of life, not just the earliest phase.
Yeah.
Are you sure we can't just make fun of the early ones like Tom and I do? Because
we can.
That seems like a lot more fun, to be honest.
I was a fucking idiot, man. I wasn't a bad kid. I was just fucking like, oh God, man. I don't want to
Yeah,
do
I'm
that
not
ever
sure I
again.
had a lot to
Like that's the whole point.
I
guess.
literally say to my daughter, I'm like, your brain won't be formed for another fucking decade. So like, just whatever you think, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take you a minute to realize this, but I'm right. You're not.
Sorry, I'm not your best friend.
done.
I'm your goddamn dad.
Yeah.
You didn't get a millennial parent. You got an old Gen Xer.
Yeah. So what, Carla, what do you see sort of being the most exciting next things for you? Like, are you sort of exploring anything new, or got your head down these rabbit holes kind of morph and shift all over the place? Like, you got anything fun that's got you excited right now, or maybe it's another retreat? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about this retreat because it's been I actually haven't done anything since COVID. My last retreat was February 2020.
Oh wow!
Oh, you barely got home.
Yeah.
You barely got home. Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much. And I had like a whole, I had like 5 more planned, and then of course everything changed.
Closed. Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about this one, and just planning more of those. Retreats, like I was saying earlier, they are just really special because there's just so much spaciousness, and the community. You touched about how important community is, and people are craving that. They're craving like genuine connection, heartfelt connection, creating heart bonds with people. And yes, we can do that in short, moments of of reaching out to people or spending time with them, but there's something really magical that happens when we have an extended amount of time together. So I am really excited about creating more of those opportunities, and having these conversations with women about this portal, the initiation, the rite of passage into this phase of life, and helping women really reframe. There's a piece, you have to grieve what's gone. You have to honor what's left, and then you have to really envision and step into what's awaiting you. And I think that we don't spend enough time actually really getting clear on that piece. And so helping women to do that while supporting them to be the healthiest versions of them so they can do that, fully and vibrantly. That's really what I'm excited about.
Yeah, and I think you
That's
brought up
great.
something I had not heard before, and I'm going to like unpack over the next couple days, I think. But like, I think there is definitely a role to be played for everybody, men and women, after this, like the second half, the back nine, if you will, like but I think women in particular have a like a special needed place, right? You need that energy. Guys can build a campfire build fire until they're dead, right? But like, that's not really important unless you're cold or you need to cook something, right? Like the feminine, I think it's almost like a universal Swiss Army knife for being like grounded and connected and just sort of energized. And I don't think guys are great at that. But if a woman doesn't know that they even can do that, I don't know that that's where they're going naturally. Like, at least not the women I know that are not.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Like it's not an obvious next step, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think that's a metaphor for a lot of what we talk about on the show. Simply giving people permission to think about shit they had not thought about is like usually profound. Like just, hey, you have permission to realize that you could do anything you fucking want. Oh, really? Nobody told me that. They told me I was 55. I'm supposed to be shriveled up and, shrinking into
starring in Cocoon.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked about this on a couple of the shows. We're all older than Wilford Brimley was in Cocoon, which is terrifying.
Come on.
Yeah.
I think it was 40. He was 48, I think.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah. It's terrifying. Like it's absolutely fucking, and it's funny. Just look at that. That movie came out inside of our lifetime.
Oh, he was 50. He was 50.
Sorry, he was 50.
Okay. I'm 54.
Okay.
So.
He looked 150. Let's be honest. Let's all let's all.
No.
Yeah. And how old was Estelle Getty when the fucking Golden Girls started? That was the other one that we always reckon back to. I think she was younger.
All right. Look, it comes up. You type in Golden Girls ages when show started.
And there you go.
Yeah, they're in their 50s,
right.
I think.
Rue McClanahan was 51.
Oh my God.
Dorothy, so B. Arthur, was 53. Betty White was 63.
Holy shit, really?
And Estelle Getty was 62.
But Estelle Getty looked, again, 162. Like they really, like, I mean, she looked ridiculously old, right? My grandfather, my grandmother, they looked 1,000. And maybe some of that was because I was young and whatever, but I don't know old people like that anymore.
My dad still has jet black hair, man.
Yeah. But I just don't know people that look like that anymore. I think like societally, we just know how to not do that at a baseline.
Yeah.
Like we're not. But my grandfather.
I think there was an expectation we'd be 50 and we would be an old man or old woman. And we don't feel like 50 is that anymore.
I feel like I'm just warming up.
Yeah. I feel like the event hasn't started yet,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, anyway, Carla, I could literally find infinite number of things to talk to you about for the rest of the day, but I feel like we probably have other shit to do. I don't know, like maybe
somebody's gonna stoke a fire or something.
Yeah,
I think you gotta put
it's freezing in here.
This. You gotta take care of a pellet stove.
Hey, last question though. I'm curious from your family side, what you do is awesome, but it's also fairly unique. Is it for your family unique, or do they know mom is just, this is what mom does? So it's not even like, do you think they have a different vantage point because of what you do? Or are they like every other kid?
Of how they see the world?
Yeah.
Or me?
Well, the world, I guess, but we know how they feel about you. The just same way all of our kids feel about it. Like
at that age, yeah.
I think they do. I mean, I think that they've always, mom's always been a little bit out there,
sure.
But especially now that they're young adults, and you kind of catch glimmers of conversations or things that they say, and so it definitely has rubbed off. And I think I think that my kids absolutely are seeing what's possible throughout a lifetime as something that like just keeps getting more exciting and better.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot because it's like, I got friends, I see some of my son's friends' parents who are like, clearly let the iPad do the babysitting and don't care if they're home at 2 a.m. and I'm like, he's like, oh, I want to be out late. I'm like, yeah, you're 17. I'll see you at 11. But all my friends, I see you at 11, man, not 11:01. We'll see you then. And I feel like I'm like always the bad guy in that. But at the same time, when he comes home, I've got the neurovisor on and I'm meditating on the couch or something. And I'm like, his friends' parents are not doing these things.
No.
And I don't know, I'm not saying one's bad or one's good, but I am hopeful that like sending this repeated nurturing message out to my little universe ends up having different impact than not. I don't know. So I'm always curious.
Absolutely. I mean, kids are learning from what you do, not what you say.
Right.
And so if you are modeling that is absolutely what they're picking up.
Right.
Without a doubt.
So how do we send people to find Carla? What's the best way to do all
this?
This?
So the best way is to go to vibrancyreset.com. So that goes right to my website where you can find out everything about me. But there's a free vibrancy guide, which is targeted for women 40 plus. It's a resource with actionable, doable steps for women who just want to feel more energized, balance in their bodies, really great in their bodies. So, but you can find out everything there, vibrancyreset.com.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, we will definitely send people your way. And when is your next retreat? I'm just curious.
It's in Mazunte, Mexico, November 16th to 22nd.
All right. This will definitely air before then.
Yeah, this will be aired before then for sure. Yeah, I love that for you. That's exciting. I'm sending you all the good vibes for that. That should be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mexico's a good place to do it. We actually have a guest coming on who has a retreat in Jamaica.
Nice.
And I can't wait to talk to her about it. She's this like 6 foot tall blonde lady who grew up in Jamaica.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's got like, it's funny. Everything about her is like a juxtaposition. Like it's awesome. I can't wait. But the same thing, she does largely women-based retreats down in that area. And I can't wait to dig into this with her. So. Cool.
Well, it's what makes living Northern Canada bearable is to head off.
Yeah. Get the hell out of Northern Canada.
It's funny. I have a condo in Costa Rica and almost the entire complex where my condo is Canadians, and they all come down there for the winter.
Yep.
That's
right.
It's like 52 units. I think 48 of them are owned by Canadians. So like there's like one Costa Rican and me and my neighbor from DC, Baltimore area, and I think everything else is Canadian. It's
right.
It's so funny. All right, well, cool. Thank you again for coming by.
Thank you so much, Carla, for coming on.
So much fun, and good luck. Talk to you guys.
Yeah, thank you both. This was great.
Awesome. Take care.
Be subversive, irreverent.
Health is wealth, but you knew that.
Everybody knows that.
But so is following us on social media at Irreverent Health. And check out our website for more exclusive content at irreverenthealth.com.
Oh, I like this.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Irreverent Health.